Guess who's back? Back again. Mikey's back. Tell a friend. Hey, everybody, here with another video for you guys today. And today we're going to be playing some of the original arcade version of Punch-Out on my Switchcade. You can see it back there playing. I got it loaded up right now. So we're not talking about Mike Tyson's Punch-Out, the console, the NES version. I'm talking about the original arcade game Punch-Out. But before we go any further, let me just say, if you like this video or any of the content on the channel, please like, comment, and subscribe. And if you're a really big fan of the content and you want to support the channel, you can head over to Mikey J Productions, my main channel. The link is down there in the description and everything. And become a member. We got a great community we're building, and I'd love for you to be a part of it. But let's check out Punch-Out, the original arcade version on the Nintendo Switch, after the intro coming in now.
It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
America! Demand your
JP!
I want
MJP!
I want my
MJP!
I want my
MJP!
Call your cable company and say I want my
MJP! And here we are with the original arcade version of Punch-Out, and this is on the Nintendo Switch Arcade Archives, and they've really done a fantastic job with this port, in my opinion. It really gives you the feel of the original arcade version, but also transfers really well to the Switch and has a bunch of new features and stuff that we'll get into in a little bit. But let's get started with some gameplay, and I wanted to show you guys all the opponents that you fight in this particular game, because most people are familiar with Mike Tyson's Punch-Out or Punch-Out featuring Mr. Dream, the same version but without Mike Tyson. And the first opponent in the very first game was Glass Joe, because in case people are unaware, this game actually came out 1984, so that would have been 4 years before Mike Tyson's Punch-Out was released. And this is the very first game in the series, and Glass Joe was the first opponent that you fought. And the character you play as in this game is not Little Mac like in Mike Tyson's Punch-Out, just an unnamed fighter named Challenger that you put your initials in. And then the next opponent's Piston Hurricane, which seems familiar because this is Piston Honda. They kind of changed him up on the NES version a little bit, but the original version was Piston Hurricane here. And he is quite challenging as well. I had a little bit of trouble getting used to him. And as you see the meter, the KO meter fills up. After that fills up, you can hit your button for your uppercut, and it really takes a lot of damage. Because the moves and how you play this game is not exactly like Mike Tyson's Punch-Out. It's a little different. It's a little bit more offensive oriented, and not so much just defensing and dodge like you're used to on Mike Tyson's Punch-Out. So that's a little bit different. That people that have started with Mike Tyson's Punch-Out might have a little bit of hard time transferring over to. But I enjoy it, and here the next opponent is Bald Bull, and of course he is a famous Punch-Out character from over the years. And what's interesting about him is he has his famous bull charge. Here you see it just like in Mike Tyson's Punch-Out. You got to punch him in the gut and knock him down, and yeah, so I mean, all these characters, they have similarities to the NES version that came, like I said, 3 or 4 years later. And he is quite challenging, just like he was in the NES. And you see here he is lining up for another bull charge. But luckily I've got years of practice countering that move, so I actually look forward to it when he does his bull charge. And like I said, this game isn't quite so much just dodge and attack like Mike Tyson's Punch-Out. You actually can formulate your own offense, which I actually really enjoy that aspect of it. It's a nice change over Mike Tyson's Punch-Out. And then the next opponent is Kid Quick, and he didn't appear in any other Punch-Out games as far as I know. Maybe he came out in some of the newer ones, but he was not in Mike Tyson's Punch-Out. Which I will be getting into some of those other games on the channel in the future as well, because they are all available on the Switch, which is pretty cool, except for the original Mike Tyson's Punch-Out. Because of the licensing with Mike Tyson, he is not in that game, but they have the Mr. Dream version, so basically all the versions of Punch-Out minus the version that came out on the Wii in 2009 are all available on the Nintendo Switch for you Punch-Out fans out there, which is a pretty cool option. If you wanted to do a themed arcade of Punch-Out, you could have a full lineup of games, which is really cool. And then the next opponent is Pizza Pasta. He's another opponent that doesn't appear in any other games. I actually was reading that they actually copied some of his moves for an opponent in Super Punch-Out, the Super Nintendo game. And, in full disclosure, I was not able to beat him so far since I've gotten this game. You can see there's his little special move. He, grabs you and holds on, and I haven't quite figured out how to deal with that move yet. But I will. I'll keep practicing and getting to it. But, like I said, I haven't been able to beat him quite yet. This is me playing, and you'll see him knock me out here in a minute. See, there's a special move, and yeah, I haven't quite figured out how to deal with that move yet. And there he is, getting a knockout on me. But he is the number one challenger. So there's only one fighter past him, and here I'll load my online rankings up, and you can see I set the high score on my version of the game, and the champion in this game is none other than Mr. Sandman, and here he is in the NES version, and here's some footage of what he looks like in this game. And this player is really giving him the business and is able to take it to Mr. Sandman, so I tip my hat to this player. But yeah, so Mr. Sandman is the world champion in the very first game, which, if you've been following and playing these games for years, he's definitely a recurring character. And if you win, you can make your player champion, which is really cool. And so let's take a look at some of the other modes. Here is high score mode. And basically, it's just what it says it is. You're competing for a high score. But I don't believe you can change the difficulty or anything like that. It's more of a stock version of the game. And I did run through this real quick. Put my initials in for creating my character. There's Glass Joe again, and it's all the same opponents that you fight in the regular arcade version, and same order and all that. And here I am starting out against Glass Joe. If you can't beat Glass Joe, you shouldn't be playing the game, as far as I'm concerned. Although I will say in the arcade game, he is harder than on the NES game, absolutely. That's just a quick little look at the high score mode, and here's a look at the online leaderboard, because yes, the Switch does have online leaderboards, which is really cool. So yeah, so far I'm not anywhere near the top. 2006. And then here's a look at Caravan mode, another interesting mode. And what's different about this is you only have 5 minutes to play, and it's how the highest score you can get within 5 minutes. So even if you're still alive and you haven't been beaten in the game, after the 5 minutes it's over. And so a little change up in unique and interesting game mode. And here I am about 3.5 minutes in, playing against Bald Bull. And this was just one time run through for me, and I wasn't able to beat Bald Bull this time because Bald Bull is a challenge. But I'm not scared of that bull charge. Took it to him there. But yeah, I'll have to give these modes a little bit more time. But that's one thing I like about this game is the new modes and everything that they've added. The Arcade Archives versions that are available on the Nintendo Switch are really, really cool. and I recommend people give them a try and, you know, make a Switchcade, because there's a lot of great arcade games that you can play on the Nintendo Switch. Well, there it is, folks. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care, everybody.
Hey, thanks for watching. And don't forget, we got merch store. If you want to take a little piece of the show with you, you can get it right here. We got everything. You want some Mikey J stuff? We got the Mikey J Productions for you. So take a chance and stop by. We'll take care of you.